As always, let's start with some music. A little Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg.
One, two, three into the four. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre.
All right, so we got to do some learning today right here. Let me just turn this down. Okay, so we're doing this example here with the ATM, in which we're taking out money from the ATM, and we're going to do some calculations on that. Let's kill the music. All right, okay, so I took this as a screen recording, so the first thing you have to do is data enter all this stuff into the spreadsheet so you can do some work with it. We've got to find the interval. So interval, let's do the range first. So min, max, get the range and divide by like 10 probably. So let's move this over here. What do I got? Okay, so let's do the min. And remember the min is, this would just be equals the word min, and then open brackets, it did it for you. Highlight your range of data, enter, boom, and it gives you the minimum. Max equals max, enter, highlight your range of data. Voila. All right, and then so the range is going to be, you put equals this cell minus this cell, and we got 180. All right, so now the interval was going to be this value, so again equals this divided by, let's try 10, and we get 18. So that means we're going to be in intervals of $18. It's going to round up to 20. 20 is such an easy number. All right. Yeah, that's so let's go ahead and see what's the next part. So what interval width will give the representation? Okay, so there's our answer, 20. Sort the amounts in a frequency distribution table. Okay, let's do that then. So here's our freak table. Let's get our freak table on. All right. All right, this is going to be the minimum value. Let's call it lower boundary. Lower bound. This is going to be the upper bound. Upper bound, both. I'm just going to make it so you guys can read this. Now, I don't like the size of that. So if I highlight these two, I'm going to wrap text, which is over here somewhere. Wrap text. So then it kind of cleans it up a little bit. I want the midpoint. I'll explain that in a second. So midpoint. That's the midpoint of the boundary. Okay. So let's use some formulas here. Okay. So the lower boundary, let's start at $1, I guess. Not that there is any between $1. And so now the upper boundary, it's got to be 20. So instead of putting the number 20, watch this. Let's go equals this cell plus 19. Hit enter. And so there's our 20. Highlight these two. Grab this bottom corner. Oh, actually, sorry. Well, now what's this cell going to be? It's going to be this one plus 1. Does that make sense? Because this is now the lower boundary of the second interval. So I'm going to say equals this cell plus 1. And now if we could drag this over. This should go to, no. Oh, I got to drag this down. Drag this down. So now, boof, that goes to 40. Picture perfect. Grab this bottom corner, and what it does is it pulls the formulas down, right? It pulls the formulas down, so it fills it up for you. Look at that, it even stopped perfectly on 200. I believe 200 is the max, right? Let's take a look. What's the max? The max is 200, so I'll stop at 200. All right. Next, midpoint is just the halfway between these. So in this case, it's going to be 10. What's this one going to be? 30. So again, we don't want to type in. So let's just say this plus 20. Both. And let's grab this bottom right corner and drag this down. And looks legit. Good. So now this is going to be the number. So how many withdrawals were between 1 and 20? Again, I'm going to use a formula just because I don't like counting. So, I mean, I could go through here and just simply count them all and then put the number. But let's use computer science. Let's use a function, a formula to do the work for us. All right, so here's where it gets pretty. What we want to do is we want to count how many numbers are in this range are between 1 and 20. So we could say equals. Put the word count if. Count if, and there it is. And we actually want more than one count, so we're going to say count ifs. Now, the first thing is, where do you want to do the count? It's kind of the first argument of this function. So we want to count, what happened to my values here? So I got to zoom out. Slide this over. Zoom in a little bit so we can see. Okay, so we got the count ifs. It's highlighted, and we want of this range right here. Boom. Then we put comma. And what is the criteria? Well, the criteria or the condition is if it's above the lower boundary. Let's move this over. Can I move this over? No. Okay, so if it's above, so I'm going to open quotation marks. Oh, what happened? I'm going to open quotation marks. It's got to be greater than this cell right here, which I can't get. All right, I got to try this again because I want it to click on this cell. So again, we'll go equals count ifs, enter. What's our range? I'm going to zoom out. Our range is, did I get it all? Yeah, this part right here. Good. Comma. Now, I'm going to zoom back in so you guys can see. We want to say the condition. What's the if condition? If the value they grab is greater than, we're going to close that off. I know this looks really goofy. This is just, it's like adding letters together, this ampersand. If it's greater than this cell. Okay, so if it's greater than K21. Okay. Okay, now another condition, another if, it's got to be less than this one, right? We want it to be greater than 1, less than 20. All right, so now we can, we got to select the range again. So I'm going to highlight this again. And then I'm going to press comma. And now what's our second argument? It's got to be greater than this cell right here. Greater than this 20. So now I'm going to say, no, not greater than, less than. So that's going to be less than, again, ampersand, this cell. So boof, boof, boof. And I think that's it. Can I close this off? Did I make a mistake? Press enter. And there's 0. Oh yeah, why is there 0? Because there's nothing less than 20. Right? 20 is the minimum value. So I made a mistake on this argument here. Which should it be? It shouldn't be less than 20. It shouldn't be less than L21. It should be less than or equal to. Let's try that. Hey, now there's 4 of them. I'm going to trust. Well, can we see 4 20s? Let's find out here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Sweet. Now I'm almost done. I should just be able to pull this down now and it count all this other stuff. But there's some other goofy stuff I just got to change here. This A20 to J24 is always going to be the same. So when we never want it to change, we put $signs in front of it. And it means don't ever change, man. Same with this over here. Oops. Put $sign in front of the letter and a number. Do we want these to change? Like as I pull it down, yes, of course we want that to change. So I think that is it. Press enter. It should still be 4. And now let's boof this down. Woo, fancy schmancy. And just to see if our answer is legit, if we got this right, let's go equals sum. We're just going to add this stuff up and see what we get. And so we got 50. I think that's it. I don't know. How many numbers are there? I don't know. You guys want to find out? Let's go n. N is always a good value, a value for how many entries are in a data set. And we'll just say equals count. We don't want to count unique, count blank, count if, count. I think it's just count. It counts a numeric value in a data set. That's what we want. So let's count how many there are. Highlight this, press enter. Hey, 50-50. We win. Yes. Okay. So now we've got sort the amounts in a frequency table. Way we did that. You guys want to turn this pretty? Let's merge this stuff up here because that's our title. Let's give this a fancy color. What color you want? Let's go over any orange. Let's go earth tones to the yellow. Mustard yellow. I'm just going to draw a line down here so that I know this is the bottom of my table. So I'm going to that guy right there. Total's 50. Good. What's next? Construct a histogram to represent the part in B. This is why I wanted the midpoint, right? Because this means that there's 4 values that are between 1 and 20. We can average it to 10. This is actually a poor example because we know they're all 20. Anyways, let's go to this one. There's 4 values taken up between 20 and 40. And that could be 30, 40, So what I did is I just averaged it to 30. So I'm going to highlight these two right here. And I want to build a graph from that. There's a graph button here. Oh, chart. Insert chart. Something's going to pop up. There we go. What do we want? We want this guy right here. Number versus midpoints. There's your midpoint. That's your number. Yeah, that looks good. Let's insert that bad boy. Okay, so we're almost done. I don't like the word number because this isn't actually, it's not a good name for this, is it? Let me make this a little bit wider. So let's edit some of this table here. Advanced edit. Did I get it? Oh, yeah, I did. Chart, number versus midpoint. Well, no, it's not. It's a frequency table. Freq table. Frequency polygon, I believe is the term we've used. So I'm just going to take a look. Construct a oh, it says histogram. I didn't like the histogram, so change it to this. Anyways, where are we? Let's go back here, and we don't want it. Okay, on the left, this is actually the frequency, right? It's not the number. So we want title, maximum. Oh yeah, horizontal. No, that's vertical. Change that to frequency. And then our rate, horizontal. Horizontal is midpoint. Ooh, I like that. That's already right. Change it to hyphenated. Frequency polygon. Hey, that looks good. So it looks like what, so now when we look at this, which value hits the most? Looks like it's around 50 bucks. Most people take around 50 bucks, right? And we could tell that in a hurry. That's the beauty of the table, the chart, is that we look at this, we look at this data set over here. When we look at this data set, it's hard to tell which number is taken out the most, right? What could it be? But when we look here, we're like, poof, oh, right here, 50 bucks. Around 8 people took that number out. What else? Looks like a lot of people took out around 130 bucks, right? So you can easily see it, whereas if you just look at these numbers, it's a little bit harder to tell. Anyways, that's the beauty of the frequency table and or the frequency polygraph, just to look at the data set. If you have any questions, be sure to ask. Thanks.